Hello, and welcome, dear viewers, to the Musings of Maverick channel. I'm your host, Maverick, where today we are actually going to be starting a new series. Although this one is probably quite an old one for a lot of you guys, and that is Steins Gate. So, yes, I haven't watched this before, and let me go through a little bit about why I haven't watched this and why I'm watching this now, right? So, I just finished my Yojo Senki series, The Saga of Tanya the Evil, and that was a moderate success on my channel. A lot of you guys certainly enjoyed it, and I enjoyed watching it and, discussing with you guys as well. And a lot of you guys were recommending, okay, so do another older series such as Steinsgate. And so I thought, hey, what the heck, I'll do it as a sort of a stand-in since that series is finished. Starting next season, I'll probably shift my schedules around a little bit too, but for now, let's just start with this one. So hopefully you guys will enjoy it. Now, as for why it's released in 2011, right? And so 8 years have passed and I still haven't watched this yet. I gotta say, it's just one of those things where, okay, so during that time period, to be honest, I am much more of a manga reader than I am an anime watcher. I haven't really gotten into watching anime only after 2015, I guess. Before that, I was more of a manga reader and more of a light novel reader. So anime to me wasn't really as compelling as those other two. And also, I'm a PC gamer and not a console gamer. Right, so I feel like that also contributes as to why I was not as enthusiastic about the Steins Gate series as some others might be. I'm a PC gamer, and visual novels, okay, so let's go a little bit talk about Steins Gate, right? It's adapted from a visual novel. Now, visual novels I have played before. If there's any of you guys who don't know what a visual novel is, it's generally, a game where it's very dialogue and decision driven. You don't really get a lot of action or whatnot. It's not like normal gameplay, it's more narrative gameplay. I know that is debatable. There are some visual novels that are more RPG based or strategy game based or sort of management based, I guess you could say, and I have played my fair share of visual novels. Although, if I'm honest, they're probably more of the questionable nature, I guess you could say. So Steins Gate at that time, like I said, not really my cup of tea, and also because it's honestly way more popular on consoles than it is on PC. So that's probably also why I did not take much notice of this franchise. And by the time things came around to when I was actively seeking out anime to watch, if you guys know the meme, I don't know what XXX is, but at this point I'm too afraid to ask. It's similar to that kind of situation, right? And so Steins Gate, for me, remains one of the top-rated animes on my anime list or whatnot that I haven't watched, and it's one of the few ones that I haven't watched yet. So I guess now is as good as time as ever. So let's just get into this with you guys. So, as per usual, for all my first episodes, I will be giving a sort of, overview of the actual anime itself. I like to go through some of the, background information and whatnot. And, oh, by the way, if any of you guys are new here, I generally like to talk a little bit more in depth and not just have a blind review. In the beginning, typically I structure my videos into 3 parts. I'll have an introductory or a recap at the beginning, a blind reaction in the middle, and then I'll have a discussion part at the very end. Now, if you guys are still watching this right now, you probably already watched this before, so you can also just skip to, for instance, the discussion part, and that would probably be good enough for you guys. But anyways, so about this anime, right? So like I said, it's adapted from a light novel. The studio that did it is White Fox. To be honest, this is probably the hit that put White Fox onto the animation scene. At least really for them to make a name for themselves and to become the powerhouse that we know today. So good on them. In terms of the staff, to be honest, all the directors or producers, I haven't really seen any of their other works at all. well, I mean, some where they're like storyboard directors or just episode animations. Some of them I have, but for them being in charge of an entire work, no, I haven't seen any of them. The seiyus for this are quite legendary, to be honest. We got Mamo-san, we got Hanakana, we got Chiichi. So yeah, quite a good cast of seiyus as well, and a lot of my um, I guess favorite, or just fan favorite in general seiyus. In terms of the actual story, all I know is that it has to do with time travel, and that's basically it. Now, I do know, since I did some preliminary research, I do know that this is part, the original game is part of, I guess, a science adventure series of games where there's, I believe, 5 different works. So it does have a sort of kind of prequel called Chaos Head that's supposed to happen 1 year before the events of Steins Gate. But by all means, it just shares the same world, and the stories aren't really interrelated anyhow. So maybe we'll get to those other works later on, but as for right now, let's just concentrate on Steins Gate itself. So I think that has been about enough of an overview, so let's just get into the actual episode. Alrighty, let's begin in 3, 2, 1, play. Okay. Hmm. Hmm. Definitely already a very atmospheric anime. I like the shading in that part. Prologue of the beginning and end. Hey, it's the key visual. Okay. Ooh, time machine. Okay. Yeah, what is that? So what's the relationship between these two? Hmm. A childhood friend? You two look... your ages don't look that similar at all. Okay. Still a softie. Cute. Okay. Oh, he said this is important, so I guess we should pay attention to this. Never mind. Plagiarism? Hmm? What? Okay, Mamo. Just be yourself. Classic Mamo. Okay, so we're already starting with the time travel stuff. What? How old are you? Okay. About $100. Really? You're short on $100? Hmm? What is your identity? Alright. And is the murderer somewhere near? This is some nice atmospheric music. What? Okay. Hmm? Wait, this is the... Oh, so that's what that thing was. Alright. Wait, what? You? Alright. Kani. Do-do-do. So what does your lab do? Really? Disruption? 'Those are my... Uh... 'So what exactly is the organization? Is that like the secret hand behind the world or something? So, is this already diverging timelines? Okay, title drop. Oh, I see. So that's the remote control. Okay. Another Dr. Pepper? It's way too sugary for me. Name's such. Okay, so this guy Chuni, um, one of those that tries to make, tries to talk in very cool ways, use very cool names and whatnot. Huh. That's actually... Huh. They actually do have some hacking talent. Yeah. uh, okay. Wiener jokes. So they're actually students. Last week? Huh. Oh, what? Oh, so now she's still here? Okay. Already being trippy right from the first episode. Alright. I guess it's just a preview of the next one. Alrighty, so that was an interesting first episode of Steinsgate. Not really sure what to make of the entire situation. I'm glad that I knew at least that it involved time travel from the very beginning, so I wasn't that surprised when they sort of started showing the story in a non-linear fashion. Although I guess you could also infer that based on the context and clues that the main character Rentaru gave at the end of the episode, right? We know for a fact that some kind of time travel has happened. But before we get into that, let's talk a little bit about the characters first, right? Rentaru, Mayuri, and Itaru. So, you know, judging from their self-introduction within this episode, I can kind of guess that they're probably university students, and they probably major in something like physics, applied physics, astrophysics, or maybe they could also have electrical engineering degrees as well, or working towards their electrical engineering degrees, judged on their knowledge, the kind of courses they're taking, and, you know, what kind of things they can actually do, right? So, from Rentaru knowing about, you know, these kinds of quantum mechanics, or knowing the curve theory in regards to black holes and whatnot, we can kind of infer that he probably is more on the physics side of things. Whereas Itaru, judging by him able to hack together a remote control for a microwave using a flip phone, I would venture a guess and say he's more on the engineering side of things, right? Now, Mayuri, not really sure what her role or her expertise is, and so I guess we'll know about that a little bit later. And I just want to point out Rentaru's character, you know, he's probably a Chunubyo, in a sense, you know, like I said, the kind that likes to talk talk about things and think that they're actually cool. But I'm not really sure if there's a direct English translation for it. But anyways, I guess mad scientist would also work enough in this context. So Mamo is completely at home voicing this kind of character, and I love it. So yeah, not really much else we know about the characters. You know, Mayuri apparently has a sad past, maybe lost her parents since she was early or something. I suppose we'll get into that later. And as for the actual events that happened, so like I said, we do kind of know that a time travel has occurred, right? Because we know from the very beginning, what the Rentaro that we saw on screen, and when he was attending the conference or attending the lecture, that was also July 28th, and we know that because of his messages with Mayuri, right? We can see the timestamp there. However, at the end of this episode, we can also see that, again, it is July 28th, but the events don't match up with the events at the very beginning. And in fact, his text messages to, Rentaru's text messages to Itaru describing the murder of the redhead apparently went back into the past into July 23rd, right? So some kind of time travel has occurred. Now the question is, however, what kind of time travel scenario are we dealing with, right? Because this apparently does not seem to be the kind of straightforward time travel where you just go directly back into time and alter stuff, right? I do believe that due to these events not completely matching up with each other and having these discrepancies, maybe we're dealing with a situation where there are what we call divergent timelines, if you will. And that is, so say for instance, again, in sci-fi, there's lots and lots of different kinds of theories of time travel. Divergent timelines is one, in which is if you go back to the past, anything you alter will just diverge into a new timeline, which is different from the original timeline that you came from. That one already goes forward as it is, where you create a new timeline. This is the theory that I guess is mostly popularized by Back to the Future, if you will. Another kind of spin-off or adjustment to this kind of theory would be combining quantum mechanics and many worlds interpretations, where there are infinite universes within this world, and so when you go back in time, maybe you're going back to a different universe, to a different split in time, if you will, because there are infinite universes. Some variation of different things always. You can always find a universe that houses that situation. At least I think that's how the sci-fi theory of it is supposed to go anyways. So, but at the very least, I do believe that we're dealing with a multi-universe or multi-timeline format of the time travel trope. Right. So, that's something to look forward to or look out for in the upcoming episodes as well. And then one final clue that we have, or should I even say clue? I guess maybe we should say mystery, would be when Rintaro received a text message from an unknown sender shortly before his phone was was broken by static or whatnot, and then he was interrupted, and everything else happened, the murder and whatnot. So if we pause at that scene right before his phone went static, we can see that he received a message from an unknown person, someone who was not in his contact book. And okay, so here I guess maybe I should also explain a little bit about the SMS system of Japan, which differs, or a text message system of Japan, which kind of differs from how we understand it in the West, and to be honest, probably most countries as well. So you see, in normal telephony, receiving a text message is used through the SMS or MMS protocol, which basically routes it by your phone number, right? However, the Japanese have been, since a long time ago, been using a different kind of system where they send text messages through basically email. It's a modified version of email, and that's how they get. That's how they send text messages to each other. So when you're exchanging addresses with other people, you're actually exchanging them your email address, if you will. And so you save their contact by saving their email address as well. And so that's why within that scene where Rintaro received that unknown message, we can see that there is a email address on top of it as the sender, and that means that it's from someone who is not within the contact book of Rintaro. And judging from the file attachment, I'd say probably it's like a short video or short clip or something that will maybe house some clues as to the current situation. But again, we'll probably see that in the next episode. We'll probably also learn a little bit more about the redhead in the next episode, who apparently I'm guessing met a previous version of Rintaro some time ago. And in fact, it might just be the Rintaro that we're seeing right now. He is going to meet up with this redhead. I'm sorry, I forgot her name, the redhead anyways. And then maybe it's going to converge back into the timeline as before. Time travel stuff. They're a mess, right? It breaks my brain thinking about all these different kinds of situations. But in any case, we'll probably know more answers in the next episode. So that's what I'm going to do. I do believe that one episode for this is not enough. I'm just going to do a quick continuation viewing. So I'll just see you guys directly in the next episode. So don't go anywhere and follow along for the next one.